Please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, folks, before we get started, I just want to, Mike has a couple of words that I'd like for him to say about precautions this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Margansky. I'm the Z.E.O for the town of Seymour. Just in case of brevity, and a couple of housekeeping rules, because this is our first meeting going forward with a live meeting and then hybrid for the general public and any staff or anybody else that wants to join in through that on the internet here. One way in, one way out, both listed. So if you have business before the commission this evening, please, when it's your turn, the chairman will call you, come up to the microphone. We'll take care of cleaning it and disinfecting it beforehand. As soon as your business is complete and you are with your applicant or you're the agent, we do ask you to please to leave the room expediently, just to keep social distancing, and we'll keep the room down to a minimum amount of people. If you have any questions, I'll be off in the corner. Just please feel free, just raise your hand. I'll come over and I'll address any concerns that you have. And we'll try to get this over with the least amount of inconvenience to anybody. Any questions for that? And the chair and commission members, before you go ahead and you speak, due to microphone feedback, please, when you go ahead and speak, turn your microphone on. When you finish your comments, turn your microphone off so that your next commission member can address the rest of the commission. Just simple housekeeping rules, and if something happens with it, we'll address that too. Okay, any questions for anyone? Mr. Peck, is he on yet?
No, it's Sam.
I am, sir. I am on.
Mr. Peck Richard Peck is the newest commission member. He will be fulfilling the obligations of Walter Bursell, who resigned several months ago. Mr. Peck, the chairman, Mr. Z.E.O.
Good evening, sir.
And Jamie Brennan, staff, Brian Nastiriak, town engineer. Down here, this fine young man is Keith Rosenfeld. He's our town planner. Mr. Burke is our chief of staff. He's in the background there somewhere, and you and I have met. So thank you, Mr. Peck, for joining us.
Thank you all for having me.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. All right, Seymour Planning and Zoning Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 10th, 2020 at 6:45 p.m. in the Norman Drummer Room, Seymour Town Hall, 1 First Street, Seymour, Connecticut, for the following application. Proposed zone change from an R18 to C2, located at 143 North Street, Seymour, Connecticut. All information for proposed zone change is available for review at the Town Hall, 1 First Street, Seymour, Connecticut. At these hearings, interested persons can appear and be heard. Written communications will also be received. Dated 8/19/2020. So with that, why don't we, the applicant ready?
He's here.
Hmm?
I don't think he's here.
Oh, I thought, Jesse, I thought you were. Oh. Well, that's interesting.
That's not true, right?
Huh.
Well,
Well,
for the public.
okay, let's, in that case, well, I guess we might to see if there's any public comment.
I think he had a report.
Yeah, we've got a few things to do on our side, but there's nothing. All right, well, let's start with staff. Keith, why don't you?
I can read my report if I had it. Do you have a copy?
If it's in the record, I don't think you need to read the whole thing. Unless you think it's...
Let me just summarize. The summary is that the Keith Rosenfeld, town planner, that the public hearing had started at the last meeting for a change from R18 to C2 at 143 North Street. We continued the public hearings to today, September 10th. I just want to point out for the record, because of the change excuse me, in the lapse of time, at the cost of the town of Seymour, we re-advertised the public hearing in order to allow for the public another chance to speak on this subject. As you can see, no one is here to speak, either here for or against. The recommendation, I'm not going to go over the entire report, but the recommendation of the commission is that we recommend that the application to change be denied because if changed to C2 zone, the property would be non-conforming in both area and width. And also 143 North Street is not within an area where future development and redevelopment is encouraged by the town planning and plan of conservation and development. So with that in mind, that's the report, and it's in the record.
Okay, thank you. And so I think we make a finding that this is not in concert with the plan of development.
Yes.
Any commissioners have any comments on
Are we supposed to go to whoever might be locked down as well for the public?
that? Well, we'll get to
Oh, I'm
the public
sorry.
hearing in a
Sorry.
moment. Brian, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I agree with Keith's report.
I was going to ask the applicant if he had any evidence to show that it was in compliance with the plan of development, but he's not here, so there won't be any evidence in that regard. All right, in that case, let's move on to any public comment. Is there anybody, any member of the public who'd like to speak in favor of the application?
There-
How are we cooking with this?
No public on the call, and we solicited public comment in writing, either electronic or mail, and received none.
All right, very good. Is there anybody, so nobody from the public at all, so nobody to speak against it either, correct?
Exactly.
Correct. Okay. All right, in that case, we'll just, the commissioners have any questions or staff? If not, there you go, we can't close this hearing.
I don't see any reason why you can't close it tonight.
I would agree. I will, before I entertain. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. You want to make it, and then James the second?
Make a motion.
You have a second? Okay, on favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? So we are closed. All right. What time is it? We move right into the.
It's 6:58.
Should probably. Wait 2 minutes.
6:59.
1 minute. Sure.
For those that just came in, we have, for those that need to present to the commission, there's a microphone. We'll take care of securing that and sanitizing that in between applicants. I do believe, in the interest of brevity, the chairman is going to request from the commission to modify the agenda items, just to take the smaller items first and move the agenda a little bit more efficiently. So we just ask everybody maintain their masks and that they maintain social distancing. Thank you.
All right, let's open up the regular meeting then, 7 p.m. First off, I'd like to make a motion to rearrange the order of items on the most recent agenda. And move that we order them as follows. First item will be the one that's currently number 15, 824 referral. I also make a motion that we same motion, item number 12 become item number 2. Item number 13.
Mr. Chairman, if you could use the microphone, please.
The second time I forgot, my apologies. I'll start over. Make a motion to rearrange the agenda as follows. Item number 1 will be 824 referral for Holbrook Road. Item number 2 will be 33 Mead Farm Road. Item number 3 will be 76 Great Hill Road. Item number 4 will be 20 New Haven Road. Item number 5 will be 19 Beach Street. And finally, and then item number 6 will be the Kimmer subdivision. And then we will go back up to item number 4 and go through item number 8. So if I can have a motion, I'll make the motion that we change the agenda that way. Do I have a second? All in favor? You can discuss it, sure. So the people who are sitting here can leave early for safety and convenience. No, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right, in that case, let's move right to item number 1, which is 824 Holbrook Road referral. Want to tell us about that?
You have a memo here from our town engineer, Brian Mysterian. This is Keith Roosevelt. Want me to read that for the record? Sure. Okay. Holbrook Road summary. This project consists of a reconstruction of Holbrook Road. Holbrook Road is a major collector road on the western side of Seymour along the Oxford-Seymour town line. The project consists of approximately 8,200 linear feet of roadway located between the rotary and the Oxford-Seymour town line. The improvements include the reconstruction of the existing roadway, including replacing the existing pavement and base material, improvement to the vertical and horizontal geometric design and associated earthwork, which includes the construction of 6 retaining walls. The project also includes stormwater drainage improvements, including the installation of piping structures, including manhole, catch basins, head walls, swales, ripraps, aprons, and culverts. Utility improvements include relocating existing electrical poles and wires and relocating portions of the existing sanitary sewer. The reconstruction of the Holbrook Road requires easements from the town of Oxford, CCDEP, as well as 8 private property owners. B&B Engineering has worked along with town attorneys to obtain all easements from private property owners, and the deep and town of Oxford easements are under review by respective representatives, but expected to be accepted and filed with the town clerk. This is before our commission tonight as an 824 referral. And the directive tonight is for this commission to either make a finding or not that it adheres to those strategies and objectives of the plan of conservation and development, and you will, and a vote of either yes or no, even in support, will be then sent to the Board of Selectmen for their consideration for their vote.
And of course, we're not approving it here. We're just letting it go on to the select.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have an opinion on that?
I do. I've read over the project. I've looked at the area, and I believe that those goals and strategies of our roadways and infrastructure would be supported by this project and does adhere to the plan of conservation and development.
Commissioners have any questions?
Jamie Brennan, I have several questions. I was concerned, about doing this on easements. I was hoping council would be here rather than the town taking ownership of properties.
Obviously, I'm the design engineer, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
The council isn't here, so that was one of my concerns. The other one, it seems like, am I correct in understanding that the road is not going to move? We're just widening it on the,
For the most part, it's not moving. The center line is essentially the same. It is widening in some places, in most places. It is shifting in some places, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same road in the same place.
and you're working on the easements with private property owners?
We've received all the easements that we needed from private property owners. Most of them had to do with grading and sloping, because right now the road and the slopes adjacent to the road there's no shoulder whatsoever. It goes pavement and then it goes to a very steep slope. So we're not only widening that road, but then we need also a shelf, a snow shelf, a safety shelf, and then we have to make proper slopes, which are usually flatter than what's out there today. So in some cases we have to slope that, in some cases we have to put in a wall, and most of the private easements have to do with just the ability to slope that area on private property. There's a few other easements, mainly sloping or drainage, which have to be acquired from the state, mainly the DEP. And then there's the same easements that need to be obtained from the town of Oxford, because they own the property to the to the west of the road. And there's actually a section of the road, maybe 1 or 2 feet of the pavement, it's on the town of Oxford, like within the town of Oxford, and we have to get an easement for that as well. So those are the general rundown of the different easements that we've gotten. We've received all the private property easements. We are still working with the DEP. I'm hoping that that gets wrapped up, but it's literally an act of Congress to get that done. It's got to get approved by the Attorney General. It's got to get approved by the Commissioner. It goes through so many different areas. And then the town of Oxford as well. We got attorneys going back and forth dealing with it, but we anticipate that once we get all the paperwork out of the way, it'll be taken.
And I'm correct in understanding that is a town road, correct?
It is a town road.
You are pursuing a grant for that, LoCIP grant?
We've received the grant. We've received approval for the grant. Now we have to get approval from DOT to conform to their requirements, because the DOT is actually the ones that provide the money. So they're the ones that are approving the design of the road itself.
Right, and town has a recommended roadway drainage improvement schedule. I don't know if you're involved with that, 2019.
I don't know what you're referring to.
I'm referring to what's called the recommended roadway replacement and drainage improvement schedule, date 8/13/19. And this roads,
Is that the road report that I prepared?
I do not know if you prepared that or not. That's why I was asking if you were familiar with it.
That could be just a general road report that oh yeah, that's at the top of the page.
Yeah.
Holbrook Road is at the top of the page.
Correct. So that number, we're looking at 5 million.
Current cost estimate is around $5.2 million. That's what's being provided by the state.
Most of the state is looking at paying that entire thing.
That's right. And it's been approved by, it needs to be approved by COGS, the Council of Governments, and then it needs to be approved by DOT, and both of them have approved it. Now we just have to get it so where we have the easements, and then we can go out to bid once we go through the rest of these formalities.
Our function is correct if I'm wrong, essentially simply to, by approving it, prove that it goes to the select for final approval.
It's a recommendation.
It's a recommendation. If a yes vote is a positive, a referral is given to the Board of Selectmen, then it becomes a simple majority. If this commission feels that it's not appropriate for a positive referral, it would then have to have a supermajority.
Okay. All right, in that case, entertain a motion, unless there are any other questions, discussion. Entertain a motion to make the referral to the selectmen of the
Positive,
824 positive or negative referral on the 824.
Which one do you?
Sorry, say again?
Which one, you have to choose one or the other, a positive or a negative.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, you're asking for that
I'm
motion.
asking for a motion.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion. I'll make it. Go ahead.
On that sanitary, on moving sanitary sewers on that, why, if we're just expanding it, and there's a pump station at the bottom there of Moose Hill Road, is that being moved, or is that?
We're only moving, we may be moving portions of the sanitary sewer pump line because it's running into the way of the new drainage. So there might be a few areas, it's a 4-inch cast iron pipe. There may be a few areas that we have to move around the new drainage pipes in order to keep it keep it flowing to the right.
Not the entire extent of the.
Not the entire site. Nope.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion then to approve the referral to
Send a positive
send a
referral.
positive referral to Selectmen's office on the 824 Holbrook Road project. You have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Okay, moving to number 2, that would be 33 Mead Farm Road.
Mr. Chairman, I believe Attorney Fisher is here.
Good evening. Is your microphone on?
The bottom, I think. Mike will do that.
Yeah, sorry. This is item number 2.
This one.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, 33 Mead Farm Road was a result of a enforcement action that started to occur last fall. And the owner has come to a resolution. So he's in the acquisition of purchasing property from the adjoiner where the infraction had occurred. And this will now, with your approval, this will now bring it to a conforming lot, and there will be no impact negatively to either side, either owner at that point.
And the cease and desist is then vacated.
That would be, and then the cease and desist would be vacated. The enforcement would be dropped at that point. Thank you.
Council, anything might want to add?
And Attorney Karen Fisher, and just so it's clear, I don't represent the applicant in this. I represent the Daddios, who are the adjacent landowners where his building was encroaching onto their property. So I can confirm that we have reached an agreement with Mr. Estes that if he has the lot line revision approved, that we will transfer that property identified on the lot to him.
Okay, great. Staff, is there any reason why we?
There is no reason why this should not be approved. There is no reason why this, Keith Roosevelt, Town Planner, no reason why this should not be approved. It does not negatively impact any of the lots. It makes both lots remain viable in way of its zoning conformance, and nothing gets changed other than the proper, the structure is now then on the proper property.
Great. Commissioners, anybody have any questions? You still have Mr. Peck, right? Mr. Peck, you're still with us?
Yeah, he's there.
Good. Well, in that case, I'll entertain, good.
That means.
I was looking to bring this up in commissioner's
Not
comments, but since we didn't go that way,
Ceiling.
I would request that the majority of the applications do not seem to be completely filled out. You know, if we have property data, addresses, I understand they're on subsequent documents, but I would request that we have everything filled in that's appropriate here, especially when we come down to the description of principal and accessory uses.
Are you talking about this application that's before us right now? There's no.
This one too.
All right, well, why don't we do this? Let's finish this, then we can get on to, we can go over that for the commissioner's comment. So I'll entertain a
It
motion.
seems incomplete.
Pardon me?
It seems to be incomplete.
Again, I'll entertain a motion to, what are we doing specifically? We're approving the lot line revision. Can I get a motion to approve the lot line revision?
All right.
Correct? That's what we're doing?
Yeah, that's a lot. Excuse me, sir.
That's what we're adjusting, we're approving the.
Approving the lot line modification.
Do I have a motion to approve the lot line modification?
So moved.
You go ahead.
I'll make a motion then to approve the lot line. I'll make a motion to approve the lot line revision for 33 Mead Street. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you. All right. Okay, number 3, 76 Great Hill Road.
Again, it's Karen Fisher. I represent the property owner, Roxy Layton at 76 Great Hill Road. This is another lot line revision application. It had come to our attention, this property borders the Comcast property, which is directly behind the house. And I think you can have the map there. There are several parking spaces of Comcast that were actually placed onto my client's property. In order to rectify this encroachment issue, we're going to be transferring property from us to Comcast to change the lot line if it's approved in order to rid the encroachment.
Any questions?
Jamie Vernon, do we have a map?
Yes.
I asked in the town building department to see map 2 days ago and there was nothing available.
I have the Mylar if you'd like to look at it.
So we have a copy of it. That would work.
Okay.
This was the setback on the porch, is that what?
What's that?
You need setback on the front porch, is that what you did in there?
No, our revision is back here in the back of the property. These are the parking spaces of Comcast, which is right here, their property, and our property line is here. So all of these parking spaces
Right.
were on our property, so we're revising it here. And then we're going to convey this whole piece, Comcast.
Right.
Okay, any other questions, questions? You staff see any reason why this shouldn't be approved at all?
Staff has no reason to say that this application should not be approved. This is a correction of probably an overzealous land surveyor, and in order to this is to help out one of our citizens. And I think this is something that should be done, and there's no reason why it should not be. Again, it does not make either of those properties non-conforming, and zoning conformance still remains after the split. So we recommend approval of this lot line modification.
Commissioners have any other questions? Not, then I entertain have some motion to approve the lot line revision.
Second that.
Okay, I'll make the motion then to approve the lot line revision. 76
I'm not
Great
looking
Hill
for
Road. That's okay. Lot line adjustment. We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You want to sign that right now?
I can do that. Do we
I
have a
also
secretary?
have the original Mylar on Very City Farm as
Do we
well.
have a secretary?
Can you just make a motion to, I don't know who's secretary is.
Walter was
Also,
on.
we started out with the
Can you just make a motion?
Pardon?
Acting secretary?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you can make a motion to make somebody else an acting secretary.
Yeah, you have to do an election for the secretary. So you'll have to make a motion to add to the agenda to do an election for the secretary, and then do that.
You'll want to do, Attorney Fisher, you want that done tonight. So let's take the,
I don't think it's required.
what's that?
Does it have a place? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Keith, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was just thinking this out loud, but no, there is a place to sign, and it doesn't hurt not to sign. Does
All
it
right.
list, is it the listing of the secretary, or does it say chairman?
Both.
It's
Oh,
both, yeah, we
okay.
both always sign it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to nominate the commissioner as secretary, and then we'll vote on that.
Well, you have to vote to add that vote to the agenda.
All right, first then, take a motion to add the vote on the secretary,
Vote to add this item to the agenda.
this item to the agenda as this item.
Election of secretary.
The election of the secretary.
Yep.
Second for that motion. Anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye, any opposed?
Aye.
All right, so carried?
Yep.
All right, now let's, does anybody want to nominate somebody for secretary?
So this is item number 5 then?
Well, we're technically, yes, we're on, I guess it would be the fifth item, we didn't renumber it. Anybody want to nominate somebody for secretary? Mr. Brennan, do you want to nominate Joe? Okay,
There you go.
I second it. All right, in that case, now we just vote on, all right, all those in favor of Joe being secretary? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
So carried. Congratulations. All right. So now we can move on to.
Would you like to sign the Mylars? You have those?
Sign them out.
You have a black pen? You gotta use black. Yeah.
Got it.
No, blue too? I was black.
Black.
And we just use the little fine sharpies. Oh, those are nice. Don't touch them, pretty sharp. There you go. It's only 4:20. Oh, TV. Oh, yeah. Yeah, big idea. There you go. Okay. I'm more vocal these days. Get comfy over here. Don't get comfy in your chair.
All right, you're all set.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so one is really sad with just.
All right, now let's move on to item number 420 New Haven Road. Yeah, in here.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jesse Wilson. I'm a licensed land surveyor in Connecticut. I'm representing the applicant, Mr. Enterprises LLC, for application.
Is that
for
good,
site plan
Rory? Is that
modification.
good?
No, I'm sorry. If you could speak a little more directly into the microphone. I'm not getting any of it.
Okay, for the record, my name is Jesse Judson. I'm a licensed land surveyor, 52 Main Street, Seymour, Connecticut. I'm representing the applicant, Mr. Enterprises LLC, for their application for site plan modification of 20 New Haven Road. Just a brief history of this project. Last fall, this was in front of the commission on January 9th. The commission approved the plan, site plan, which included the building, parking areas, display areas, equipment storage area in connection to the municipal sewer. We had come back in front of the commission on March 12th, the last meeting that they had for a site plan modification. In that we asked for the modification was about temporary sales from the sales pit while the main structure was being completed. We had asked for the parking area to the south of the shed be expanded from 5 spaces. We had also put
stipulation there, the building was going to be completed by September 30th of this year. And the commission had added several approval conditions, including storm drainage to be completed by May 1st, the driveway be paved by April 1st, landscape beds be installed by April 20th, and temporary fencing be placed around the proposed building during construction. The driveway, temporary shed, and fencing were completed in early April, and the applicant was allowed to open for sale. The landscape beds were installed and planted in April, and the storm drainage was completed by early May. Detention pond and connection to the storm system in Route 67. Currently, the building is still under construction. The applicant's been open for sale. There hasn't been any problems or conflicts with that going on at the same time. So we're in front of the commission to ask for several small modifications. The first is that the temporary sales shed that we have proposed, and that's there, we're asking for that to remain permanent for outdoor sales. Not in place of the building. The building's still going to, be constructed and finished, and retail sales and merchandise is going to be sold in there. But once they were open and got rolling, it's quite convenient. People grab, a couple potted plants or whatever. It's convenient to have that. So they don't have to bring plants inside the building. We're asking for that shed to remain permanent. Second, the temporary expansion of the parking area to the south of that shed with the site plan modification was temporarily approved from 5 to 8 spaces. We're asking that those 8 spaces remain permanent for employee and customer parking in that area. We reduced the size of our bag product storage area to accommodate that. Thirdly, we're going to be installing on-site septic systems that are connected to the sewer. We had approval from the WPCA. The applicant had even paid the impact fee and then connection fees, but at this point, we found a suitable area on site for a septic system right behind the building. And for the only the 4 employees and the minimal water use that's used in the 1 restroom that's not public, it seems like the septic system is more sensible for this point. Moving forward in the future, it might be connected to the sewer, but right now we're going to use septic system. Lastly, the self-imposed deadline of September 30th for completion of the building, we're asking for that to be extended to December 31st this year. The building's not going to be completed by then. The applicant wanted the building to be completed by then, had every intention. Don't think any of us could predicted 2020, and so we're just asking for a few more months to complete that.
Thank you, Brent. Has anyone put a cease and desist on there? That building isn't moving in it's wrapped, it's up. I don't see windows going in. I don't see anything going on.
And they just poured the slab on the front porch like a week ago. And they're going to be moving forward with it.
Yeah. Have you received Valley Health approval for any?
Valley Health was out there yesterday, and they've approved. We had to wait in time, the health department with this, because in order to put the septic in behind the building here, we all know the site was excavated in the past. Most of the material was removed, and there was several feet of fill placed on the site. So roughly about 7 feet of fill in the area behind the building. We had to get down to original ground, put the septic system in. In order to do that, we had to dig a hole 20 feet wide, 40 feet long, and get down to the bottom of that hole 7 feet depth and take the septic for the health department. We didn't, and now that we have this hole there, we want to put the septic system in right away. We want to dig this big hole, fill it in, disturb the ground, etc. So we were waiting till closer to approximately this meeting so we get that hole dug, get you guys on board so you know that it's going to be a septic system, get the health department approval, and the septic will be installed within a week or 2.
When I was at the health department yesterday, they told me they hadn't found a suitable site.
The sanitarium was at the site yesterday.
Do you have a letter or anything?
At this point, I do. I mean, the health department's going to approve it. If the health department didn't approve it, we wouldn't be allowed to put the septic system in, and we would have to hook to the sewer, which is already approved. So it's not, it doesn't really. If the health department said we couldn't put a septic system in, we just got to connect to the sewer. It's already approved. If the health department says, yeah, we're good, we put it in.
And you're saying it's a temporary sewer. You have a well on there that's only an irrigation well, correct?
The buildings will be connected to the public water service.
Well, that's what we're here originally.
But it's
To
still a
me,
plan.
there's just too many temporary things that are now we're wanting to keep permanent.
It's just the sale shed parking spaces from 5 to 8. And we're putting a septic system on instead of sewer. And we're just asking for a few more months.
And you want to keep the building. You want to keep your outside storage building. I mean, how many things?
I mean, it complies with the regulations. It's not. It's just.
It's not in accordance with your site plan that we approved.
The original site plan,
No.
but the modification it was, and the applicant could.
The
I'm gonna pull a
modifications are temporary.
permit for a shed anytime.
Modifications are temporary.
Yeah, an hour is.
Question, Keith,
Yes, sir.
your letter of September 2, 2020.
Yes.
You outlined the original approval, conditions the board we placed on the approval,
Yes,
and then also outlined the modification we made last time.
yes.
And then your assessment is in the bottom paragraph, but I'm not sure I understand it. Well, could you flesh that out for me a little bit more?
Just I wanted the commission to get back on board, understand that this process had started in January. There was some expectations. It has been modified, and it's really up to the commission to understand what those changes were, what the modifications are, and understand that this process was from the start a site plan, and it's really an observation of not necessarily being for or against, but just advising the commission to remember what you expected to get and what you're getting now. And at the end of the day, it's not very different than the original site plan.
That was my next question, because except for the timing,
Except for the timing. And I think that's what the applicant is really fleshing out, is the fact that COVID and these uncertain times really led into that. And that if it is okay with the Valley Health, it is okay with zoning. I have no problem with the staff doesn't have any problem either.
we have no authority with respect to the septic anyway. I mean,
No.
it's approved, so that's not.
Yes. So it was really just to take a pause, understand where we've come to, and understand where we are now.
The only thing that jumps out at me, frankly, is the 5 to 8 spots. And I know didn't we have issues with respect to parking vehicles on the property?
Well, we had some, that was the parking of the construction equipment,
right.
and that is being followed. And those vehicles or those pieces of equipment, trailers, etc., are placed on the property in the proper place. Is that correct? I have no problem expanding retail parking from 5 spaces to 8 if they're done properly, spaced out properly, and have a proper egress back and forth. I can't see any problem having an additional 3 parking spaces. Many times we're trying to get parking spaces, or we have way too many that's necessary. And I think 8 is reasonable both for employees and customers.
And I don't see any problem with the sales shed. I mean, I've
No.
seen.
No, it seems to be working very well.
So if I understand then your comment in that last paragraph, for the current proposed modification, my recommendation to the commission review the proposed changes as they relate to the original concepts first introduced, that was the site
Yep.
plan, and make a final decision based on those anticipated development standards. That's where I'm losing a little bit. Are
I
you
think
saying
that's
that the
just a way of saying that to consider any additional things within those zoning requirements that are set forth by the site plan review.
The original, okay, not
The
including,
original site plan.
not including their entire first approval, not including the changes we made.
Yeah.
So the
Because-
changes, all the changes we made last time were the temporary ones in here, just above.
Yep.
And
And I see with the permanent ones, there doesn't appear to be any impacts caused by those changes. So I would say that would be our recommendation.
if I understand your recommendation, you don't see a problem with doing this at all.
Yes. That's great.
Any other questions from Commissioner?
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I might. So the part that I have not an issue with, but I'd like to have a better understanding is item number 4. And the extension of the deadline from September 30th till December 31st. Everything gets hung on COVID right now, and I understand that. But there's building going on. I've seen contractors working day and night in plenty of places. This unforeseen circumstances, is the snowstorms that are going to be upcoming going to be unforeseen circumstances, and we're going to be asked to extend this again? I mean, I'm not sure why we weren't able to hit the September 30th deadline.
Good question. Applicant want to handle that?
I mean, there was numerous issues, going with, the COVID thing caused a few months delay. Some building materials aren't readily available. And it's also affects other aspects, in people's lives where timing and availability to do it. I mean, it's just unforeseen. I mean, the building they wanted the building done. If they could have, they would. They're not putting money in the building to let it sit there empty or not being used.
Taking that all to be accurate, what would our recourse be if we extended, if we did, granted the changes, gave them to December 31st and they came back? What could we do at that point to backstop?
I would say that without a permanent building, you could ask for the zoning officer to extend a cease and desist letter, order to the applicant to immediately stop all sales until that building is completed.
We have that power?
Yes, we do.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Any other?
I think that Commissioner Peck would, you like what it asks him.
Yes. Mr. Peck, how does that sit with you?
So I'm okay with that. I would hate for us to see this constantly being extended. They're not doing any electrical work because there's no windows in the building. It's not sealed up. So are supplies going to start coming in? We don't know. But I'd hate to have this constantly extended out and them coming back. So if we have that power that we can say, if you make this deadline, fine. If you don't, it's cease and desist. I'm okay with that.
I agree.
I would also suggest that any vote that you do take to allow for this to occur has an expiration date of the date that they've suggested.
December 31st.
Yes.
So that would
So
be,
your temporary modification would only be good for till that time. Once it's done, then it would be out of sync with zoning regulations, and cease and desist would be sent to them based on their not adhering to the zoning regulations, meaning not adhering to the site plan condition.
okay, and what's the trigger for that, a CO?
No, well, no, it's the trigger for that is having the zoning officer report back to the commission that the building has not been completed, and the zone and a cease and desist has been sent out. You would not even need your with an expiration date. You would not even need your approval to send out a cease and desist. You could base it on that fact that today is January 1st, 2021, and he goes out there with the building official and they judge that the building is not complete. The cease and desist would go out that day.
But that seems vague. So it's saying if we're hooked to a CO, for example, then either there's a CO or there ain't a CO.
Yeah, but the CO is based on the inspection of the building by the building inspector. I don't think you want to rely on him to make the zoning call.
Well, it's not a zoning call.
Also,
Well, it is.
in most cases, you're not getting a CO unless you have zoning compliance.
Exactly.
I would,
So you have to get zoning compliance and then you can get a CO.
Yes.
upon completion, Mike Morganski, zoning officer, upon the completion of the building, I would go out and review that they've met all the criteria and conditions set forth by this board
Okay.
and the plan. I would review that with the town planner. If that is insufficient at that point in time, with that expiration date on January 1, I could issue the cease and desist order. And then you would get a memo from this office and a copy of that order to go out. The applicant would have the ability to appeal that decision as normal, but that activity could take place.
Okay, so you routinely do that. You'll establish the building. Okay. I was thinking-
If the building's complete, I will issue a certificate of zoning compliance.
Then Jim does the.
And then once Jim has that zoning compliance certificate, then he'll go out and he'll complete with his building of occupancy.
Yeah.
So we need our certificate of zoning compliance.
Okay. And does your client feel comfortable with that deadline?
Question, how would that tie to their temporary sewer now, the temporary septic system, the temporary wall?
Well, let's just make a clarification. If this is approved and you approve it as suggested as desired by the applicant, they have to get the septic system approved by the Nugget Valley Health Department. That will have to be done. If it's not done, then the sewer would need to be installed.
If Mike goes out and sees no septic and no hookup to the sewer, do we have a completed structure?
No.
No.
Okay.
No,
You
because
you
we would
still
not
think the
start-
timing is, all right, I just want to make the applicant perfectly clear on what he's promising, because there's a big hammer at the end of this if you mess up.
I don't think
If you want to speak, come on up and identify yourself for the record.
It's Kevin Cox, for Rooster Enterprises. I don't see any problem with getting it done by the end of the year. It really wasn't with contractors being tied up with so many jobs and the material availability. Windows were 2 months out just to get those in. They weren't custom windows, they were something off the shelf, stuff like that. That's gonna hold things up before you can do your electric when that thing is sealed up with the windows and the roof and everything like that. So I want it done. Yeah, I didn't, start to look at it. So,
No, and I understand
Go
the
with that.
difficulties you're up against. We heard that last time, and this is the third time.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that what's going to happen on December 31st is going to be
I understand.
very severe. So
I understand.
even if this stuff happens again.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't mean.
We'll do everything we can to get it done. I'm not building it myself, so I have to rely on my contractors with their timing and everything to get that done. So I can push them all I want.
I'm just not certain we'd be inclined to extend beyond that. We'd be maybe more inclined to cease and desist, which would be
I understand.
very. Okay. All right. Any other? And
The only other question I had is
you.
this gentleman is saying that this is a temporary septic system. I don't understand what it means. It's to be temporary. That's going to be the septic system for that building. It's not in 2 years, I'm going to hook it up to the sewer. That septic system is what's going to be there for that building.
And required for zoning compliance.
If I were to tear that down and put up a bigger building,
Better approval from Valley Health.
what's that?
If you actually do have approval from Valley Health, and you receive that letter from Valley.
Right.
Health.
It's just, I thought you said that you thought it was a temporary septic system.
Well,
Unless I put up a bigger building that requires a
I think that's
bigger
what he had
system.
in his letter.
Yeah, if something didn't work out, I'd be, put up a high rise or something, then I would need to put up a sewer. It's permanent for that building. Size.
I think we all understand that you either have to have an approved septic or you've got to be hooked up to the sewer to get your zoning compliance, which is going to be required by December 31st. And you're okay with taking, okay.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any other questions? Staff, do you have any other final comments?
No.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would we want to split these recommendations into 2 separate motions? Because it sounds
ahead.
like items 1 through 3 everyone's in agreement on and that they could be approved. But it seems like item number 4 has got a condition set to it. And I don't know if you can approve all 4 with a condition on site application from the chair.
I see your point. I would just say that that's a great idea. Yeah, understand. In that case, how would you like to make a motion? We'll take it from there.
So I move that the board, or that the commission, I'm not sure how you phrase it here. This is the first one, that the committee approve items 1 through 3, modifications 1 through 3 of the recommendation.
Okay, and I think that's sufficient. We know we're referring towards item 1 through 3, the letter.
The letter dated, yeah, I'm sorry, I've got to get it. The letter dated August 31st is what I have.
Okay, all right, do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. All right, so carried. You want to make a second motion?
I move that the commission approve modification number 4 with stipulation that as of July 2021, if not approved, a cease and desist, if the building is not approved.
It's December 31st.
Yes, so January 1st would be when the cease and desist order would go out, correct?
Well, I
So
think
if the
what
building,
we-
how
I
would
think I think the motion would probably be something like we would approve item number 4.
Contingent upon completion of the building as of December 31st, 2020.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't really think we need, and I don't think we should talk about cease and desist. That's
No.
That's
No,
I don't think
But
we.
your commissioner didn't mention that didn't put that in the motion.
Yeah. Okay. You want to restate your motion then? We can
No,
leave
so
out
I'm
the-
fine with it. I'm fine with that we approve modification of item number 4 as of on the letter dated August 31st, 2020,
On the condition.
upon completion of the building. See, I usually write these out, December 31st, 2020. And if not completed, a cease and desist letter will be issued.
That'd be fine.
Okay. I think that's okay. Do we have a second?
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Brennan, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we are at item number 5, right? Is that where we are? 5?
Yep. 6, we added 5 in the middle. That was your vote.
Okay, so
That
6,
was your vote.
19, we're at 19 Beach Street.
Yes.
That's number 6. Six is going to come in. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, this is Rizzo, managing member of Sterling Properties. I've also managing member Daniel Bowman. We have a application for a parking area on our property bordering Route 67, going down into our property on Beach Street. It's a one-way entrance. It'll exit through Beach Street. It's primarily to pick us up a little bit of Route 67 and have some parking on the property. Entertain something
Then from the board, if you've got questions.
Well, where are we with this?
Is there a map?
Do we have a,
Map?
there's a cease and desist. Mike, maybe, would it make sense for you to give us a jump start here? We have a cease and desist that we're trying to resolve, right?
Correct.
And, Brian, I think you had some issues with respect to the site plan.
Yeah, this was, well, why don't you give it a hit?
Yeah, bring us up to speed and then we'll take it as needed.
Michael Margansky, Z.E.O. Activity was occurring on the upper lot of this property at 19 Beach Street, which is abuts Route 67. The activities that were occurring there was installing of a wall, possibly generating a parking lot. There were no permits or any activity that was brought down before the my office in the zoning for any permits or anything. Subsequently, a cease and desist for the activities was issued. I believe it was approximately November of last year. The applicant that you have before you has, in response to the cease and desist, decided to come before you this evening. He was working to come before you before the COVID, and he was hoped to be here for April, but with the COVID, this is the first opportunity he could get to respond to the cease and desist order and give you an application for a site plan improvement to his lot for his activities. And he can, I'm not under the, I understand that based on his initial comment, he's talking strictly of a parking lot. I know that in previous conversations between staff members, that may not just solely be a parking lot he was looking to do. So I think that there are some things in there that we just need to clarify what the use is going to be. Do our due diligence with the site plan and take the recommendations of both our planner and our town engineer.
We do have a site plan application.
That is correct.
And Brian, have you looked at this all?
I looked. Yeah, Brian is the town engineer. The engineer and I went back a few times before COVID, but it was never fully resolved.
Okay, so you haven't spoken to him since?
No.
Okay. We need to do something by November 12th on this?
I think that's what it said.
That's my,
Keith, are you aware of?
Yeah, this is a site plan. It requires 65 days to make a final decision.
Okay, and we, when's our meeting next month? Well, it's gotta be within 12 days. It's gotta be in time.
Oh, yeah.
October 8th. October 8th.
Yeah, all right,
None of these zoning dates have been extended with the COVID thing? You don't understand?
Yes, they have been extended because the start date is today.
so why do we need to decide this by November 12th?
Because that's 65 days from, that's the next meeting within 65 days from this day. 2 months.
The applicant can also give you an extension.
I'm sorry, I think it's 30 days. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now, 65 days goes a lot longer than today, than the next meeting, but it's within that time.
Understood. Okay, my. All right, so really, Brian, you need to get together with the applicant's engineer, work out some details.
Well, I'll put together a letter with my concerns. There's a handful of them, and do it normally. I'll submit it to you, and then submit it to them, and they can decide to respond in whatever fashion they feel is appropriate.
Does that make sense to you guys?
It does, and we have been back and forth with our engineer a couple of times. And, you know, we're not looking to build a huge parking lot there.
Right.
What had happened was, when this all got started, I don't know if anybody remembers that building, but the building was a mess. I mean, it was a mess. We, just alone on the Route 67 side, we took 2 dumps of trash. So in the course of that, you know, this thing got going, let's clean this up. let's make it work. We're okay with going back and forth and trying to resolve it. And hopefully we can obtain approval from the town engineer. There's a lot of things asked for that are a lot on our plate for a tiny little piece of property. But hopefully we can do this. And if we're close to the 65 days and we haven't resolved it, we hope that we're open to granting an extension if an extension is necessary to get to the end result.
Mhm.
We don't want to lose our place in line and have to start from square one.
Sure.
So hopefully it can all come together and we can get this taken care of before cold nasty weather.
Good. So
That's our hope.
I think the next step is for the engineers to get together, because Brian is constrained.
Yep.
Brian is constrained by the regulations, town of Seymour. He knows them better than anybody.
Yep.
So he's not gonna, it's not a matter of him wanting more or less. You
Yeah.
gotta comply with the regulations and the story, and we can make that happen.
And I'll have the comments by the end of next week.
Great.
All right.
Okay. All right,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thanks for coming. We'll see you next time. That was Beach Street. No, I'm sorry. That was Beach Street. So now we're on number 7, which would be Kimmer subdivision, correct?
Yep.
We have you. Right.
We have copies for the commissioners here. How would you like your copies either rolled or folded?
Shaken or stirred?
Taken as first? We can do either one.
I'll look at it later.
Okay. That's
But
what we'll
if
do.
everybody else wants to.
Yeah, I'll do that. Gonna be first folded.
No, you can do whatever.
We're all gonna make it folded. Like you want to tell them what the little pre-story of it. So they understand why not.
Sure. Mike Morgan, I think we'll wait for Mr. Brennan to come up.
Put it out for that.
Okay. We can get back to it.
Mike Morganski, Z.E.O. To give you a little bit of case history on the 35 Mountain Road. This is about a 7-acre piece of property. On that property, we have a water course and we do have wetlands in the area. This, for the longest time, had been a single-family piece of property. Over the course of a number of years, the property became into total disrepair, and it was owned by 3 sisters. I had received, as the blight enforcement officer, numerous complaints in regards to this. Excuse me. So in an effort to eliminate the blight on the property of the single-family house, I was able to encourage the owners to find some way to either rehabilitate the property themselves, or possibly maybe if they thought that they could maybe find somebody to do that and dispose of the property themselves. After working with them for over a year, they had put the property on the market. Mr. Kimmer had purchased the property as a single family lot of 7 acres. He came in, he's secured the property. He has rehabilitated the property. So I don't even think the property, the physical house was probably not even worth $15,000. It's something similar to what we had on Humphrey Street. Very soon, if not, we're gonna have a very nice single-family home on that first. Just recently, he came in and he requested the first line cut, which he automatically will get, which was now to take that one lot and divide it into two. A couple of days later, he's come in and presented an application for the site subdivision and site plan review. From the standpoint of economic development for the town of Seymour, from the standpoint of blight remediation, I am very much in support of what he has done with the property at this point in time. It is at your discretion on how it moves forward. I do have concerns both as the wetlands officer that that application is moving forward to the Wetlands Commission for the agenda for this month. And I do have concerns at some point, when we finally get to the zoning stuff, staff will iron that out with the applicant.
There is an application.
There is an application that will be on the agenda. We have the fee for that, and that will be going before the commission on September 28th.
Have you guys looked at this at all?
Just quickly,
Just quickly, Brian Scarry, town engineer. Just quickly today was the first day I was given the plan, so I would go through, I would recommend a thorough review. I'll have to do it for wetlands and planning and zoning. I usually combine the two. And if I have any comments, provide it to the applicant and they can address them. If they want to.
Why should we not have a public hearing on this?
like, should you not have? Good question.
I think if the commission didn't think it was at the benefit of the public to have a public hearing, if they felt that additional time was necessary to make that decision, or they had enough time, I think the question is, should a public hearing be scheduled? And that's really up to the commission to determine whether, my knowledge of the town is limited. So I would say those who have a more intimate knowledge of the town, of development in the area, of or the lack of development in the area, or the knowledge that this is a critical or a unique portion of the town that needed more input than just what staff could provide. Sometimes the commission would look at something to determine maybe they'd like to hear from those who live around it. So there are a number of reasons for it and a number of reasons against. So it's really up to the commission to make that determination. So you have legally, you have 65 days to make a decision. You can either make a decision based on your intimate knowledge of the area, et cetera, now, and or you can wait for the next meeting and determine from the advice of either of the town planner and most of the town engineer that a public hearing would be viable based on those recommendations.
That's what I'm going to do.
And at that time there probably would be a wetlands report as well. So that would be, you have 65 days to make that decision from today, whether a public hearing would be necessary. So there's no need to make that decision tonight, but you might have more reasons to either do it or not do it the following meeting. Even from some of the testimony tonight is ridiculous. So you can take that all into consideration and make a decision at the next meeting.
All right, let's turn over the app. You want to tell us what's happening?
Sure. I think it's the bottom of the map. The button on the bottom of the map. Yes.
Maybe the battery.
There you go.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, my name is Scott Kimmer, and it's a 3-lot subdivision at the corner of Brook Street and Mountain Road. The house is just about completed. That was there. It needed renovation. I don't know, it's just a basic 3-lot subdivision.
What, tell me about the neighboring area, what's outside the perimeter of your.
The neighbor, they're, like single family residential homes, pretty spread out. And up above this property, there's very similar houses, and it looks like maybe they had done something that I'm looking to do now in the past on the upper piece of property that's there. So it's all within the realm. They're close to 2-acre lots. So they're bigger than what the zone is. I think it's an R40, which is like 40,000 square feet. The lots are mainly off of Brook Street, so they're not on the Mountain Road at all. And there's no driveways or no entrances on Mountain Road. So there's 3 driveways off of Brook Street, and that's about it, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I can. Mike Margansky, Z.E.O. In regards to the topography, that's Mountain Road. If you were to come up from Route 67 or New Haven Road, you have just a little bit of, you've got a little bit more than a gentle grade going up into that, especially where you come. You have a great bend there too, just in that area. There's actually a snake turn there. The interesting thing about Brook Street is that there's 2 roads there, and neither one of them have a cul-de-sac at the end. That's Cozy Lane and Brook Street. And just the fact that that property hasn't been touched in a number of years. Your neighbors, the adjoiners in that neighborhood may or may not have some concerns about that development going in or not. And then you have the Wetlands Commission will need to determine whether or not they feel that this will have a significant impact into the water course in some way or not. And that's to be determined shortly.
Okay.
I just want to add, if the Wetlands Commission does determine that it's a significant activity, then they are required to hold a public hearing. So that public hearing, the information and that public hearing could suffice for the public hearing for the subdivision for the Planning and Zoning Commission, but you can make that determination at that point as well. I'm just saying sometimes a commission will just let the other commission lead the way as it concerns a public hearing if it feels that that could take care of some of the concerns. Right. And it's nice that Mike will be at that meeting as well. He staffs that commission, so we'll be able to have a liaison back to this commission to relay some of those or allay some of those fears if necessary.
Okay, I'm inclined to let you guys look at this until the next meeting, get some input from you. Jamie, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I had a question. They created parcel B with the first cut?
Yes.
Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Thank you.
So like I said, I'm inclined to let the staff look at it and come back next time and make at that point, maybe we can make it, wetlands is when?
28th.
So we may have,
we'll have at least their minutes.
Yeah. So, all right. So,
You'll have time.
Sense to everybody?
Yep.
That's all. Okay.
So you're tabling the item to the next meeting.
Mr. Peck, any comments?
No, sir. Sounds like the right approach.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion then to table this until the next meeting. Made by Mr. Brennan. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right, thank you. See you next time. Where are we? Oh, did you? Too late. All right, so we are now 7. All right, so we're back up the top of the list. We'll go down to number 4, Z.E.O Report. Do we have it?
Your choice on 143 North Street. at this point. Your choice on 143 North Street is still on your agenda. This was the public hearing that you conducted earlier this evening.
Yeah, I was gonna go through the rest of the agenda, and then 143 would have been last.
Oh,
Unless,
oh, that's okay.
Whatever you want to do.
all right, so do we have a Z.E.O report? It's number 4 under the old. Technically, it's number 8. You did great, yes.
Mike Margansky, ZEO. Before you, you have a list of enforcement activities that have occurred. They were either outstanding and being resolved, attempt to be resolved. If you take a look at that, the highlighting I read will give you a direction as to where you are. And most of them we have resolved at this point. We have anticipated resolutions coming within several weeks on some of the other ones. The interesting thing, I just want to point out that 31 Silver Mine Road, this was that site plan approval that you had given. During the summer, the owner, the applicant, came in and requested a modification to his site plan. This was just allowed to add an additional patio to the front portion of that. Staff between myself, Brian, and Keith have reviewed that, and then under an administrative approval in accordance with the regulations, we were able to give the applicant the approval for that site plan modification. So that was there. I just don't want to have you see something that you had approved and then a modification occurred. And how did that occur? We issued a temporary food permit for 6 months. We had a new food vendor come in. It's replacing the one over on New Haven Road. She actually came in, requested a permit to do it. She's got a temporary permit. So that was a good positive thing. We've had a lot of new occupancies in town. People are coming in to find out what's permitted into their commercial activities. We've had a lot of inquiries about, we've issued a lot of pool permits, issued a lot of shed permits. People are keeping up on their property. So there's been a lot of activity in regards to zoning enforcement, and then just investigating things, and a lot of inquiries by any one of the staff. So it's been, as much as COVID kind of put everybody down, we've been very active, and I think that staff has done a fairly decent job of just trying to keep Seymour in a progressive mode, even in times of the difficult times that we have before us. If you have any questions with the report, I'm here for you if you need.
Great, thank you. Questions?
One question. Jamie Brennan, like on the Ansmore Road there, was Ansmore, large shed. 3 Tomlinson Road resolved, that was just a sightline, or they didn't pull a permit or something like that, or what was like that stuff about?
3 Tomlinson Road was what it started out was a fabric shed, a fabric structure that was not permitted. And then what ended up happening is he elaborated more and more onto that. He actually built a structure around the fabric shed with no permits. It was technically, from a building point of view, it was an illegal structure. There was no permitting from us. It didn't conform to anything. So after having worked with the owner, working with the building official, and working with the town planner, we just got compliance at the beginning, just on September 3rd. The party had resolved that. That shed is down. There's no more issue with that property. My enforcement action now is closed on that property.
Yeah, I just was wondering if it's like a setback thing, or if it,
Well, it's a combination of everything. The biggest problem was it was not permitted. And it was an illegal structure in regards to the building official. That alone was enough, between, not having the permit and then having it, the structure. That was alone for it. If the owner wanted to come back to the office and he wanted to file an application to place another accessory structure up there, we would be happy to review that plan, and he would follow the normal course depending upon what he or she would want to put up.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? All right, then let's move on to number 9, public comment. There's no public, so up for them to comment. Approval of the regular meeting minutes for March 12th. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? I didn't have any changes. Anybody else? Changes, additions, deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting on 3/12/20. Moved by Mr. Brennan. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Number 11, moving on to the approval of the public hearing meetings for March 12th. We don't have the transcribing secretary here tonight, do we?
That's what Rory is.
Rory still there?
Yeah, yeah.
He is?
I'm here.
Here he is.
Rory got promoted. Rory got promoted.
Okay, because I had I mean, well, actually, you know what? It's possible that my comments are moot, but just in case they're not. On page 2, 3 paragraphs down, Mr. Steves, according to the transcript, said that the committee, I'm not sure who the committee is, probably us, but I'm not positive, mailed out letters to them to let them know there was a proposed zone change. 2 paragraphs down, Mr. Steves reportedly said that he gave the neighbors an opportunity to express their opposition by mailing them letters saying this was their intent. 5 paragraphs down from that, Mr. Steves said, he said if he had known he was responsible for sending out the letters, he would have. So you can see the obvious, something wrong. Either there's a transcription error or there's something more serious wrong. But I wanted to verify what's happening with that. And maybe rendered moot by what we do later on, but I saw that there was an obvious contradiction there. I'm not sure what that means.
I think that discussion, Keith Roosevelt, town planner, I believe that discussion emanated from the fact that we had discussed with him the possibility of sending out letters to the neighbors in order to allow them to introduce them.
I know that, but that's not where I was going with this. He said he mailed them out, and then he said
I think he thought he mailed them out. I mean, I don't think there was an attempt to mislead the commission. I think that if you really listen to the tape or to the recording of it, you'll find that both the commission and the staff, and I would say mostly staff, and when I say that, mostly myself, we're really not utilizing language that is found specifically in the C.E.O zoning regulations. And we were stunned, or I was stunned after that meeting to find out that those notifications that normally would be found in many other zoning regulations are not found in C.E.O.'s current regulations.
Yeah.
So I think there was a mix-up on that. The result of that is a letter that I had sent to you, to the chairman, reiterating that and also stating that within those regulations that we are now revising those zoning regulations, there will be the proper notification processes for a zone change, which will include not only notification of the adjacent neighbors, but also notification of neighbors within 200 feet of the zone change in order to determine whether there's a need for a petition and 20% rule, all those things that go along, as well as a sign, which in most communities provide for a notification as well. So I think that discussion emanated from that miscommunication.
And that makes perfect sense, and I think that's where we have to be, and that's where most towns are. Again, I was simply honing on the fact that he states that he sent them, he then states he did not send them.
Again, I think that was just a mistake and possibly even a mistake of the transcriber as well. But I think it was the mistake of the applicant thinking that he had done something that he had not done.
Okay, all right. So other than that, other than clarifying that, I don't have anything. Anybody else have anything on these? entertain a motion to approve the minutes then for the public hearing
As amended.
as amended, if it's to be, I mean, if that's the way it came, if that's the way it went down, it stays. If it didn't go down that way, we amended.
You bet.
Anybody want to make that motion? A motion to accept the minutes of the public hearing if amended, or as amended?
Necessary.
Yeah.
Good.
Motion to approve the minutes.
And amend if necessary.
As amended for the public hearing on
Yeah.
March 12th. Is that it? Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Might have one extension.
Do we have, we probably, yeah, do we have one abstention on the TV?
I abstain.
Okay. All right, so carried. Public comment again, we still don't have any public, so.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. Mr. Peck, I'd just like to introduce you to the Director of Land Compliance, Jim Baldwin.
No, he can't see it. You gotta go over there.
Yeah, you gotta get up there.
Keep going.
Yes, sir.
You'll see the green shirt. Keep
There's the
going.
green shirt. I've seen the green shirt darting back and forth across the screen a couple times.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, finally, I think this is our last thing. Move on to number 13, 143 North Street. Why don't we have, do we need any discussion on this? I think we've public hearing closed. The applicant wasn't here. We have testimony from staff that the plan, or the proposed zone change doesn't comply with the planning, with the plan of development and conservation. It also makes does it increase the
It increases the
Increase the
non-conformity in
non-conformity
area
of
as
the area.
also, yes, it does.
okay, and that was your testimony in your letter, correct,
Yes,
Keith?
yes, sir.
Anybody else have any other thoughts about this application? Discussion?
No, even on the zone change, if it was specific to a hair salon, if it was a change, it would be opening the door to any C2, and I oppose that idea.
All right, I think we've made the necessary findings. You agree?
Yes, I think in the motion you have to state those though.
All right, I'm going to make a motion then to deny the application based upon the fact that we have determined, we have found that it is not in compliance with Seymour's plan of development, and that it would also increase the nonconformity of the lots
On the lot.
I'm sorry,
On the lot.
on the lot, increasing the nonconformity of the, on the lot. That should do it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a second?
No second.
Okay, in that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carried. I think that's it.
Motion to add some
Pardon me?
commissioners' comment, make a motion to add commissioners' comments to the agenda.
Oh, sure. Okay. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so let's, the last item on the agenda then is commissioner comments.
I just have a couple comments on Jamie Brennan. On public notice, that's something that we, as we said, needs to be worked out. I know we put that in voices, but voices doesn't go to get delivered on North Street. You know, there's just like the Sentinel, so I was thinking, you know, do something, you know, just put it on the town's website or something, rather than click it through every day if you have public hearing notices, you know. If you could do that, or a sign, I think is a great idea, or something like that. But I just wanted to make you guys know that, let you know that that paper doesn't go to the entire town of Seymour. On the applications, as I said earlier, I would like to see, you know, the things completed, you know, I don't see what's so hard about putting in the district, the address, you know, absolutely, the description of the principal use. I know it's on supplement documents, but when we're first looking at it, and my other comment would be, that when I'm looking at applications, they say map attached. I went to the building department, a couple days ago, and asked to see the maps. I couldn't, there was nothing available. A lot of, the due diligence for me would be, to look at the maps prior to and know what's going on. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Those are all good suggestions, and we will definitely take those into account in the future.
Question, is there an alternative publication to voices? I mean, I think the statute says of general.
The general circulation in your municipality. I think it does satisfy that
Yeah,
requirement.
sure it does, but is there another alternative though?
I would say something, I don't know about a newspaper, because who really buys a newspaper anymore, something like the sign would get the people in the area, definitely, that's a good
Yes.
idea, I think.
Yes.
As well as certified notifications will help with that as well.
Right.
I think Keith Roosevelt, town planner, as I understand, within the last couple of years, I guess the newspaper people lobbied pretty hard to keep that in because there was a charge to either put it on a website or do it during an alternative means. But I think the state legislature got together and decided that they wanted to continue and didn't amend the section as it relates to a newspaper of, I think it says a newspaper of substantial circulation, which is a relative term, but they felt that it was in the best interests of the newspapers of the state of Connecticut to get that revenue source.
We can always do other publication, but to comply with the statute, it's got to be a newspaper of significance. But that's the
Yes.
the idiotic part, but it's true.
Yes.
So
And there are times now that newspapers are closing down. The Bristol Observer is no longer existing, so that's just my little jab.
Okay, anything else? Any other comments? Well, in that case, the very last item on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to, did you have something?
Make motion to adjourn.
Any second?
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? So carried. See you all next time.
Thank you, Commissioner.